Hello Art Stars and welcome back. Good to see you again. My name's Veronica, for those of you that don't know me, and I'm one of the teachers, one of the artists on the Art Stars Saturday School programme. And today I'm going to be showing you how to do a still life drawing. So you're just going to need a sheet of paper or two, or a sketchbook, a sharp pencil, and an eraser would be useful. If you've got charcoal and you'd like to draw with charcoal, that will work well as well today. So just something to draw with, a pencil or charcoal. An eraser is useful, and a sheet or two of paper or a sketchbook. And some objects to draw as well, which I'm going to go into in a minute. So still life drawing is when we do a picture of something which is still, it's not living, it's not an animal or a person or something that's moving and living, it's an object. So it could be a still life of some fruit or a favourite toy or an ornament or some clothing. Here's some examples. So it could be something really simple like a single piece of fruit. You see lots of artists create paintings and drawings of still lifes of fruit and vegetables. So this one of vegetables. Or it could be a toy. This is a wooden bird toy that I've got, and I've used up the whole space just doing one large picture of the bird. Oh yeah, something like a teddy bear. Whatever you choose to draw, it should be something that's not living, that's still. And like I say, it could be one thing, or it could, like this teddy bear, or it could be something simple like a piece of fruit, or it could be a more complicated artwork where there's quite a few objects arranged together to draw. And still life drawing is really important, even for famous artists who have been creating art for years and years, because it helps us to look really closely at what we're drawing, to observe how things actually are in life. And you find sometimes when we're drawing from our imagination or from our minds, we think that things are a certain way. We imagine that maybe two objects are closer together than they are, or the angles to be slightly different to how they are in life. So when we're drawing from life, it really makes us look closely, it really makes us observe, and it just helps us in general with all of our drawing and most of the things that we do in art. So it's a really good thing to do and get into doing. Those of you that have been doing Art Stars before, or for the last year, you know that at the beginning of each term we do life drawing, again, because it's really important to stay in practice of that. So I'm going to give you some options. So for those of you that have done it before, there's going to be some more complicated variations that you can do and options. And those of you that are new, yeah, there's going to be some simplified options as well. So what would be really good for you to draw today would be some fabric or clothing, so we can observe the shadows, and how the light hitting it in any creases or patterns in the fabric. So it could be, you could use an item of clothing, or I've made a little still life stand over here. I'm just going to give my camera over. So I've just got on a chair, I've just put a pillow on just to prop it up. I've got some neck scarves. I really like these. They have some really interesting designs and patterns on, and this one's quite creased. A little purse. I've still got the price label on. I thought that would be quite interesting to draw, because I want to draw everything that I see, that I observe. And this matryoshka money box here. So that's my still life. I've set it up. Like I say, if you want to do, so this is a slightly more complicated one, because I've got more than one object, and they're overlapping each other. Next scarves are overlapping each other. So like I say, if you want something a bit more complicated, or you've been with Art Stars for a little while, I recommend you get more than one thing. So maybe check with an adult if you've got any tablecloths or interesting fabrics, and layer them up, put some hard objects on top that you can draw, and that will really help you look closely at the, like I say, the creases and where things are in relation to one another. If you're brand new and you've never done this before, maybe just choose one thing. You might get a shirt, or a tablecloth, or just some fabric object, just one thing, and just drape it over a chair or table. to draw it. It's better to like I say, drape it over something like a chair or a sofa or a bed rather than to have it flat, because then we can see more creases and folds and forms in it, so it's more interesting. It's more interesting to draw. Okay, and I'm going to move the camera back around. And yeah, what we're going to do first, we're going to start by learning a few different techniques to help us with our drawing and shadows and adding textures. So if you can do it on the back of your drawing or get another sheet of paper, and we're going to practice some different like I say, texturizing techniques together, and this can be a reference sheet for you that you can come back to help you in future with your drawings. Or you can do it on the back of your drawing you're going to create now, so just on a sheet of paper or in your sketchbook. We're going to start off by, let's work portrait, which is this way up for this part, and let's start by drawing some squares or rectangles down the side of your page. So let's just do 4 squares or rectangles going down in a row. 1, 2, 3. These don't need to be perfect. This is just a little practice for us. So these don't need to be perfect at all. So, and let's do next to those, let's do some triangles or pyramids with maybe with a soft line at the top and edges. There we go, just like that. And we're going to do 4 of those going down as well. Like I said, we don't need to be fussy here. They don't need to be exactly the same size. This is just a little trial and reference sheet that we're making. It's not part of the actual artwork, so there we go. So we've got squares and rectangles and triangles or pyramid shapes with soft edges. And then we're going to do some ovals next to that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And we're going to start off by, like I say, practicing some texturizing techniques. And the first one we're going to do is going to be called hatching. And that's where we have lots of lines really close together like that. You've probably seen on lots of artists' drawings or charcoal works, they tend to use hatching quite a lot to show different shadows, variations of shadows. And it's also good, like I say, for adding texture, showing if there's fur, for example. Here we go, if I hold it up this way, then you can see me doing it. So it's just adding lots of lines that are really close together, like this. Really close together, and that's hatching. And I'm going to do the same on my triangle shape here. The reason we've drawn different shapes is we can think about how we can add these textures in to make the shapes look more three-dimensional. So with the triangle, I'm going to start quite thin at the top and then spread out to get wider as we go down. So it should help make the triangle look a bit more three-dimensional. So can you see as I go down, I'm gradually just doing these lines that are really close together. I'm gradually just going out further and further. There we go. And for the circle at the end, I'm going to start small and then I'm going to get thicker as I go out. I'm kind of following the curve here, the shape of the circle, which again makes it look a bit more 3D. And that's called hatching. If you want to write that down, you can. It's a good reference. So hatching, H-A-T-C-H-I-N-G, hatching. Very good for adding shadows or fur, if if you're drawing a toy or animal. Next, we're going to do something called cross-hatching, which is the same as hatching. So lots of very close together lines. But then we're going to cross them over like that. We're going to do more going through them. There we go. So that's cross-hatching, same as hatching with a cross in front. And same with this triangle here. I'm going to start quite thin at the top and get thicker as I go out. To help add to the 3D, the three-dimensional effect here. So shading and adding these textures are really good for helping to add dimension on. And then I'm going to do these cross-hatch lines going through it to make crosses. And I'm going to do the same with the circle. And again, that should hopefully make it look a bit more 3D. So hatching, and this is called cross-hatching. So cross, C-O-R-S-S, hatching. Cross-hatching, and then I'm going to do blending, which is where we just shade. So we just colour in as we would do with the colouring in pencil, just with our pencil, or like I say, if you've got charcoal, you can use charcoal for this, and then just smudge with your finger. Just contain it to the space. There we go. And I'm going to go down the side of the triangle. So just colouring in, keep it contained to the space. Then I'm going to smudge. And then same, yeah, with the circle, I'm going to go around the edges just to make it look more 3D. Smudge. And that's, yeah, that's called blending, smudging. So blending. And last one, I'll be super quick. We're going to do something called stippling, which is just with your pencil where you do lots of little dots really close together. Again, good for adding textures like grain, intricate, like grains of sand, so if you're drawing sand, intricate detail on toys or pictures of animals, or grainy shadow or lighting effects. There we go. And I've done that quite quickly. You might want to do yours a bit closer together, take longer. And for the triangle, same, starting thin and then getting really wide towards the bottom. There we go. And I think just because of time, I'll leave that there. And that's called stippling. So S-T-I-P-P-L-I-N-G, stippling. So there we go. We've got our hatching, our cross-hatching, our blending, and our stippling. And it'd be really good if when you do your pictures, you look really closely and think of, try and use each of these methods where possible, if it looks appropriate. Or another thing is, say for stippling, it might be good for showing the fibres or fabric of the clothes that you're drawing, or fabric that you're drawing. Okay, right. Now I'm going to move the camera this way again so you can see my little still life set up here. And I'm aware of time, so I'm going to just do this quite quickly. I've really lightly in pencil just drawn it out for myself, just to draw over so I can hold the paper up this way. And what you guys want to do is work really lightly in pencil, so not pressing down hard at all, and just flesh out the picture, just flesh out what you're drawing very lightly in pencil. So I'm going to make mine a bit darker just so you can see, but yours should be really light. I think I'm going to start with, if I start with this brown goldeny woven neck scarf that I've got down here, as that's the largest one, then I'll draw the other detail on top. So I'm going to start quite close to the top of my page, and I'm going to draw the shape of it as it drapes over the chair. Like I said, I'm doing it quite dark, so make yours a bit lighter than mine. And I'm going to work quite quickly just because of time. There we go, so I've drawn one side coming down, and I'm going to draw this little silk scarf that I've got over the top, going over the top. Just observe the shape. And then at the bottom, you can see it cuts off, and we've got this little ceramic matryoshka doll. Come out the other side. There we go. So I've got this neck scarf here. I've got this one behind. You can see this shape of the chair. There we go. And like I say, this is very dark. Flesh yours out really lightly in pencil in case you make a mistake first. Oh, and I've got this little elephant purse as well, which comes next to the matryoshka doll. So get the shapes down, like I say, work really lightly in pencil. And when you're drawing as well, refer back to the objects that you're drawing as much as you look at your own picture. Just keep on referring, keep on looking back at where things are in relation to one another. Oh, and yeah, I'm working landscape, which is this way up, because it's going to be easiest to fit my picture on that way, dependent on what you're drawing and how it's hanging up. Say if it was one t-shirt draped across a sofa or a chair, and you're just drawing that, you might want to do it to portrait this way, but landscape gives you more width. So there we go, drawn the shapes out, and I'm going to look at how I can apply these textures that we've just had a look at doing, and add on some of the detail. So I can see here there's this beautiful border on my scarf, and you can only see part of it, so it's crossed out. So I'm going to draw a line down to represent that. Like I say, it's just important just to not to guess, so I can't see all of it, so I'm not going to draw all of it. I can't see the border the whole way round, just draw what you can see. And then this bit that comes off to the side. And some of the detail from this large brown neck scarf I've got underneath. I've got this beautiful large feather shape coming down from the side. So I'm just going to draw a curved line across like this. Shade it in, and then draw really lightly in pencil some of these willowy lines for the feathers. And yeah, I'm just going to do this quite quickly because I know I don't want you guys to get bored watching. So I'm just going to do this just to start you off so you can get some ideas for yours, and then you can get started. But obviously take your time with yours. Don't rush. Take as long as you need. What else? We've got this feather. We've got some more shapes coming off to the side. Just flesh them out lightly. You can always come back to them to add more detailing on underneath. Got more feathers coming up on this side. Okay, and just because of time, yeah, I'm going to keep the detail there minimal, but like I say, if you've got more time, please do sit and spend the time adding that detail in. So it would probably take me several hours to draw this whole composition. I'm just looking now, I can see some creases coming up from the bottom of my fabric, so I'm going to use quite a dark pencil line and draw those in. And now I think I'm going to just start applying some of the textures that we've practiced. So for example, for this woven neck scarf that I've got underneath with the feathers on, I could add some stippling, or I could add some hatching. I'm thinking stippling would take a very long time to do quite a large area like that, so maybe some hatching, and maybe on the feathers to show that weave I could do some stippling, so do lots of really close together little dots like this inside of the lines of the feathers, inside the hairs of the feathers. So with stippling, just do it slowly, take your time. Really close together. And observe as well, dependent on how your light is, how the lighting is. If you've got good natural light and you've got light shining in, hitting the object from outside, if the windows or if the curtains are open, you might see lots of shadows on your object. So try and get the shadows in. I'll see if I can get some in here in my picture. There we go. So I'd fill up the whole of the feather, all of the feathers with the stippling. And with the matryoshka, with the doll that's here, I do a head like this. And I might focus a little bit here on blending and lighter and darker areas. So I've got a curved line up. And then we've got the dark pink, the top part. So I'm just going to do our blending method where I just shade that in. Applying a bit of pressure. And I absolutely love detail. In my drawings and my illustrations, I spend hours and hours putting faces on, adding pattern, adding very intricate, detailed areas. Again, I'm not going to do that now because it will take me several hours to do. I'm just going to do this quickly so you can see. But like I say, please do take your time doing that, adding everything on. Just take as long as you need. Okay. So this is just showing, we're not doing this in colour, we're doing this in black and white, but I want to show darker and lighter areas, not just in terms of shadow, but in terms of colour and what's there, and darker and lighter areas. Oh, and it's got some purple underneath, so I'm just going to shade this in. And then I will use some of blending techniques. There we go. So just smudge, and when you're doing smudging, just use one finger and contain it to the area. Try not to smudge all over the page. There we go. So we've got the light grey in the centre, and then we've got some flowers. I might leave out some of the detail just because of time. And focus on the textures, but yeah, with yours, please do add that in. Oh, and I'm going to add a bit of hatching. I'm going to add a bit of hatching to show this scarf that I've got here and the variations in colour. So I'm just going to do some lines like this. really close together. And yeah, either hatching or cross hatching would work here. Like I say, really think about what it is that you're drawing. Look at what you've got in front of you. Look really closely at what's there. Are the colours dark or light? Should you be pressing down hard or doing it lightly? Or what do the materials look like that you're drawing? Is it something woven? This is a woven neck scarf, and I can see how it's made. I can see lots of different textures on there, and I want to show those. Or is it maybe cotton, and quite simple shapes on there, so you'd see less different textures. Just observe what you have. There we go. Same underneath. Okay. Oh, and I'm going to speed up because of time. There we go. And when you've done different textures like cross hatching, cross hatching, or stippling, you can smudge as well. You can blend over the top if you want to with your finger. And yeah, this one here, the silk scarf here, we've got some lovely pictures of people on and detail on the edges. Yeah, just because of time, I might not draw those on right now. But let's add a bit of stippling along the bottom to show where there's grass on the print. So a bit of stippling. And I want to use all of the processes that we've just practiced. So I'm going to show on the grass as well. I've got some darker areas and some lighter areas, so I could add a bit of cross hatching like that. And these are just some quick examples in the time of how you could apply the different processes for what you see, whatever patterns or prints are on your objects. At the side. Just going to quickly draw this little elephant in. And then, yeah, it's quite light, so shade in the background. And that which is a dark red, and maybe leave that as it's a lighter pink. Once I've shaded in around it, use my finger just to smudge. And I've not got many shadows. I've got lots of creases in my fabric. I've not got a great deal of shadows in there. Just going to find some different ways to add on texture. But yeah, so this is just an example of how you could use your different techniques. So what I'd like you guys to do is just to find either one object or piece of clothing. Maybe if this is your first time and you just want to practice technique, just get one object and hang it up, drape it over a bed or chair, and draw it and just really observe closely what's there. Like I say, you can use a pencil or charcoal, works really well for smudging, and you can still use the same techniques that we've done here. Or if you're quite a pro at life drawing and you've been doing art styles for a while, I recommend you get a few objects and lay them down in an interesting way and draw them. Like I say, fabric is preferable because we can look at how it drapes and what folds and marks and textures we get there, and then you can put toys on top or fruit or vegetables, whatever you've got that you want to draw. And like I say, yeah, start with the sheet, with the reference sheet with the different types of textures on, and then see if you can apply all of them to your drawing. And remember, just look at what you're drawing as much as you look at your paper. And I'm going to let you get on, and yeah, I can't wait to see you and see what you produce, and see you later today, guys. Enjoy.